Welcome to 2025 International Summit on Sustainable Development and Harm Reduction Framework. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angela, and it's my pleasure to introduce our special guest today. As we introduce our guest, may we kindly invite each of them to stand up and give a wave to the audience. First, let's welcome Freddie Hoogland, CEO of European Chamber of Commerce Taiwan. Welcome. Let's welcome Professor Kang Hui Liu, Chairperson of the Chinese Government and the Public Affairs Association. Let's welcome Speaker Dr. James C. Liao, President, Academia Sinica. Let's welcome Industry Representative Frank Gunert, Chairman, President and CEO, Siemens Limited Taiwan. Let's welcome Government Representative Lin Yi-Cai, Director General, Climate Change Administration, Ministry of Environment. Hi. Let's welcome Academia Representative Professor Gui Tianzhou, Director, Risk Society and Policy Research Center, National Taiwan University. Professor Zhou is also the committee member of Climate Change Strategy, President Office, and the committee member of Energy and Carbon Reduction Office, Executive Yuan. Okay, please join me in welcome our organizer, Mr. Freddie Hoogland, CEO of European Chamber of Commerce Taiwan. Please come onto the stage. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. President Liao, Dean Zhang, Chairman Liu, Professor Zhou, Frank, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, participants, good afternoon. I'm very, very happy to be here today to share some thoughts. And let's start with, as awareness of human impact on the environment has grown, providing sustainability has evolved to become a core concern and objective of corporations globally. A company's success is no longer measured solely by its economic performance, but also by its commitment to the environment and also to society. With this in mind, the European Chamber actively advocates for the adoption of green technologies across various sectors, strives to reduce carbon emissions, and incorporate rigorous sustainability standards into supply chain management. European enterprises have long been at the forefront of investing in research and technological advancements, exploring groundbreaking solutions to environmental challenges. It is fair to say that the Europeans are global leaders in these fields. From renewable energy technologies to circular economy models, we are committed to not only enhancing our competitiveness, but also contributing to global sustainability goals. We look forward to hearing from our guest speakers how data and technological innovation can contribute to sustainability and harm reduction. Data can play a crucial role in sustainable development by enabling informed decision-making, tracking progress, and identifying areas for improvement. Through the collection and analysis of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG data, organizations can better understand their impact and align their strategies with sustainability goals by adopting practices that reduce negative environmental impacts, such as reducing emissions, conserving resources, and ensuring fair labor practices. Technological innovation is pivotal in environmental harm reduction, offering tools like renewable energy technologies, waste management systems, and energy-efficient processes. Advances in data analytics, AI, and IoT enable real-time monitoring and optimization of resource use, leading to more efficient practices. By leveraging these technologies, companies can reduce waste, lower their carbon footprints, and mitigate environmental degradation, ultimately contributing to global sustainability objectives and creating a positive social impact. Customers and consumers are becoming more and more ever demanding that these kind of principles are followed. Collaboration is essential for achieving meaningful and lasting progress in sustainability. We understand that transformative change can only be accomplished through partnerships among industry, government, and academia. On behalf of the CCT, I would like to thank the organizers and all the speakers today. I wish everybody a very, very pleasant afternoon. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley Hookland. Now, please join me in welcoming our organizer, Professor Kang-Hui Liu, Chairperson of the Chinese Government and Public Affairs Association.
Good afternoon, everyone, and Chairman Freddie, thank you so much for your very informative opening remarks. On behalf of the association, it's my privilege to extend the warmest welcome and heartfelt thanks for all of you being here, especially our cold front just come, so it's a cold weather here. But with our passion about the subject on sustainability development, as well as where we're going in the future, and in particular, this particular forum today, it's very unique. It provides a platform to gather experts from academia, from business, also from the government representative here today to discuss the topics that are very important to our collective future. In particular, I'm very honored today to have our President James Liao from the Academia Sinica as our guest speaker, a keynote speaker today. And President Liao is a distinguished chemist and bioengineer, renowned for his groundbreaking contribution to science. He's a member of the National Academy of Science and National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Investors and the World Academy of Sciences. And there's rarely we have Taiwan scholar that can be in all the world-renowned association as a fellow and contribute greatly in the science community. And his research has not only advanced the academic knowledge, but also provide innovative solutions to some of the most pressing global challenges, including climate change and energy crisis. Today, he will be talking about energy technology outlook for net zero emission in Taiwan. So please let me extend the warmest welcome to President Liao of Academia Sinica to join us on the stage. Please join me to welcome him.
Thank you, Professor Liu, Freddie, Frank, and all the distinguished guests. It's my pleasure to talk in front of you this afternoon. I know it's very cold outside, so let's spend the next hour or so talking about a global warming issue. Okay, so can I have my first slide, please? Okay. I think I have about an hour, right? So I may not use the whole hour. I would like to leave a few more minutes for discussion. And today, as Professor Liu said, although I'm working in this area, but our research is more basic. But here I'm going to talk about something more immediate, more practical, that will impact the energy policy in Taiwan in the next 2 decades. Maybe sooner. So, how do I? Okay, well. Okay, so we wanted to reduce greenhouse gas. So the first thing we have to do is to find out which sector, where is our greenhouse gas emitted from? Okay, so this is a pie chart of where we emit CO2. Although we say CO2 here, but actually CO2 equivalent. That includes other greenhouse gases, okay? So it's very complicated. Total in Taiwan, every year we emit 286 million tons of CO2 equivalent. Okay. So this is about less than 1% of the global emission. Okay. And if you look at all the different components, I bracketed in red here are all CO2 emission related to energy. So immediately you get the idea, our carbon dioxide emission mainly come from energy usage. These two are almost interchangeable, with only about 10% exception. That comes from agriculture, industrial processes, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's remaining 10%. That's not related to energy use. So that's why when you talk about CO2 emission and energy, it's almost correlated to each other. And among the energy usage, then let's look at who is using the energy. Industrial electricity, household electricity, service electricity. Wow, all electricity. And then manufacturing, construction. Here, we don't say electricity because it's not necessarily electricity. Transportation, 12%. Remaining parts are solid fuel, refining, for oil refining, agriculture. And energy sector, you use up about 4% for generating electricity. Transportation, we don't use very much electricity. We use direct combustion. It's very complicated, the pie chart. And more complicated than this is that the total amount, 286 million tons, that's probably is the same for all the charts that have been produced. But different people will arrange this pie chart in different ways. For example, you can allocate the industrial electricity to the user and call that manufacturing and construction. Okay? So there are many different ways to allocate this source and emission the reasons. But if we look at this, can you handle it for me? Okay. If you look at this, as I said, only about 91% come from energy usage. So that's unmistakable. No matter how you allocate the source, 91% comes from energy. Next. Well, that's all. Okay, among the energy usage, a major part comes from electricity. Altogether, about 60% of our CO2 emission comes from electricity. Okay? Even though some other charts will tell you only 20% or 30% because they allocate the electricity usage to TSMC, for example, to petroleum companies. But petroleum companies, electronic companies, chip makers, they don't generate electricity themselves. They have to purchase electricity from Taiwan Power. And Taiwan Power purchased a turbine from Siemens. So electricity is a major cause. The remaining part of next is non-electricity usage. That includes direct combustion of fuels. Okay? I will explain a little bit later. Now, I think we missed quite a bit. Go back. Go back. Forward. Okay, forward. Okay, the probably I missed it. The non-electricity part, there's one major component come from transportation, and transportation accounts for 13%, where the road transportation is majority. 12% already road transportation. The other parts are railroad, railway, and domestic aviation and marine. Okay? So if we want to decarbonize this road transportation and look at the composition, small vehicle is 50% of that, the 6.1%. Motorcycle, 1.6%. The remaining part are the buses, trucks, and so on and so forth. So how do we deal with this? We'll have to greatly increase the electrification. Okay, next. Can I look at the slide. I think it's a few key slides. I don't know where it went. Yeah, okay. Can I use this myself? Can you put it up there? It's easy to handle myself. Can you bring this up here? I'll handle it myself. Okay, now, well. Okay, this is the part I want to show. This is probably the most important part. Let's look at who is using electricity. Industry, 32%. Household, 11%. Service industry, 10%. The energy sector, 4%. Agriculture, 1%. Very, very small. So, and many other charts will allocate industry away from electricity, household away from electricity. But how do you ask every household to save energy? Electricity. There's no other way but save electricity. So it's a mistake to ask a lot of people to work on things that they cannot impact on. The most important thing is reduce the CO2 emission from electric power generation. Otherwise, household, you can turn off your light, yes, but you can only save so much. Ultimately, it's the electricity. Okay. Now, the non-electricity part is the transportation, manufacturing, construction. That part, how do we deal with it? We have to turn this non-electricity energy usage to become electrified. So eventually, we'll use electricity for all these. Why do we do that? Because it is the easiest way to decarbonize. And also, it's the easy way to treat it, electrification. So in the future, the whole world will use more and more and more electricity. And because of two things, one is easy to handle, the other one is actually is more efficient. And this part, we have manufacturing and transportation. This is the part I will stress later again. Transportation in the US and Europe usually is at least 20 to 30%, but in Taiwan, 12%. Why is that? Because Taiwan is a small island. We don't have people driving from East Coast to West Coast in the United States, or from the one part of Europe to southern part of Italy or Greece in Europe. And also we have very good public transportation. That saves a lot of energy. Nevertheless, we use a lot of motorcycles, small vehicles. And how do we decarbonize that? Electrification. And people were worried that, do we have enough electricity? Well, it doesn't contribute very much. It's 1.6%, but motorcycle, I point out motorcycle because it's very important. It's not just causing the CO2 emission, but it causes air pollution. So this is a good angle to handle two problems at the same time. One is the CO2 emission, the other one is the air pollution. Similarly, small vehicles the same way. It burns petroleum gas. It burns fuel, gasoline. And if we can electrify it, and that will save the efficiency, save the CO2 emission, as well as clean up the air. Okay, and the remaining part is much more difficult to decarbonize or to deal with because it is related to processing industry. Some chemical manufacturing, it emits CO2. It's not because they use energy. It's a process. It's the nature of chemistry. Unless you don't use this process, unless you don't use this product, you have no choice. And so this is very, very difficult to decarbonize. So that exists in some part of chemical industry. Not all the chemical industry has this way, but certain part of chemical industry is not related to energy usage. Mining, processing, mine processing, metal processing, semiconductor processing. Okay, there's a major part of semiconductor processing is using energy, but there's a small part that's emitting the CO2 equivalent greenhouse gas because they use fluorinated chemicals. That's a very strong greenhouse gas. And that is also difficult to replace, but some progress has been made there. So this is hopeful that sooner or later that can be solved. So I hope this simple analysis will focus your attention to electricity. Okay? We have to decarbonize our power plant. That's, if we don't do that, it's just beating on the bush. There's no way that we can make any progress, just electricity. Okay? And people will argue this is not enough. That's true. Even if you do this, it's not net zero yet, but this is the biggest component. Okay? If you cannot deal with this, you pick on the small things, it's useless. Okay, and I wanted to mention that all energy policies are local. What does that mean? Every country has its own situation. Okay? America, US is doing something, Taiwan may or may not be able to do it. Okay? Similarly, Germany is doing something, we may or may not want to follow. Here is a pie chart, a very rough pie chart. The common thing is that in just about every country, the energy usage accounts for 90% of the CO2 emission. This is same across all countries. Taiwan, 91%, Japan, 92%, US, 87%, Germany, 88%, around 90%. So everybody's energy, the CO2 emission, the structure is similar related to energy. That's why I keep saying energy and CO2 emission sort of associate with each other. However, among the energy usage, electricity accounts for almost 60%, 57% to be exact in Taiwan. This number decreased to 43% in Japan, 28% in the US, 31% in Germany. So again, that says in Taiwan, decarbonization of electricity is much, much, much more important than the rest of the world. Why is that? Because we are the kitchen of the world. We cook, we make things, we feed people, we produce goods. We are a major manufacturing place for the rest of the world. That's number one. Number two, our progress in decarbonization probably is a little bit behind the rest of the country, of the world. But that, the second factor, I don't think is, will explain this too much. Mainly is we use too much electricity in industrial manufacturing sector. The second possibility, the second reason is that our transportation accounts for only 12%, whereas in Germany is 21%, US is 31%, Japan 17%. Japan and Taiwan are more similar. So now you compare the number one, the ratio between number one emitter and number two emitter. In Taiwan is 4.7-fold. Japan is 2.5-fold. Germany is 1.5-fold. In the US, it's even less. Electricity is not even as important as transportation. So you see, US government is trying to push electric cars, hydrogen cars, this and that. Okay? You don't hear about the US government talking about the decarbonization of their power plant. It's small compared to transportation. Okay? So if we spend all our effort trying to focus on transportation, yes, we can clean up our air. That's very, very important. Okay, don't forget that. I still support that. But in terms of decarbonization, it's the electricity. It's the electricity. And our importance is much more so compared to other countries. And this is the part that's fair to understand by most of the people in Taiwan, including government officials. Okay, it's different. Okay, so now, electricity is important. And let's look at our carbon emission factor in power generation, electricity generation. Taiwan is about middle of the road. We emit about 0.5 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour. Each kilowatt hour is what we call 一度电, is 1 kilowatt hour. We emit about half of a kilogram. A little bit better than China, but worse than Singapore, Korea, Vietnam, Japan, or even Germany and US. So this is why we have to focus on electricity. Another reason we have to focus on electricity, our CO2 emission factor in power generation is not good. So let's focus on electricity usage. So here is the electricity usage pie chart. Every year, we consume 280 terawatt hour of electricity. 1 terawatt hour is 10亿度. Okay, in Taiwan, we use the unit in 亿度. So 280 terawatt hour is 2800亿度. This is a number everybody should bear in mind. It's as important as the balance in your checkbook. Okay, so this is the amount of electricity that we need to use. So we consume 280 terawatt hours. Who is that exactly is consuming that? Industry is 56%, household 18%, service industry 17%. Power generation itself is a small part. Agriculture also very small, okay? And transportation also very small. This is also very different from other countries. In CO2 emission, by the way, in the previous chart, we see that our agricultural contribution to CO2 emission is very small. But this is not true in US or in Europe. Okay, agriculture emitted a lot of CO2 in the US and Europe. I don't know we didn't calculate right or what, but one factor is that in the US and in Europe, people eat a lot more beef. Okay, a lot of cattle industry, but we don't have that. That's perhaps one reason. Another reason is that our agricultural sector actually is decreasing because we import too much agricultural product from abroad. Okay, we only produce 30% of the food that we consume. That's also non-sustainable. Okay, I will argue that we should increase our agricultural production, and that will probably increase some CO2 emission as well, but that's also important for national security, for sustainability, and so on and so forth. So among the industry, let's look at who are using this electricity. Number one, semiconductor sector, 22%. So semiconductor is the main one. Number two, chemical industry, 10%. Okay, number three, the basic metal. These are three big things. Okay? Semiconductor, chemical industry, and basic metals. So you see in the media, people talking about industrial sector, wanting them to decrease the CO2 emission. But this is the way they decrease it. They have to produce cleaner electricity. Unfortunately, our electricity is only one provider in Taiwan, Taipower. So their hands are tied. So we have to find a way for the utility companies in Taiwan to produce a cleaner air. Okay? Otherwise, they can only work on the relatively small portion, how to increase the energy efficiency, how to improve their processes. That's very, very important, but you can only do so much. Okay, then let's look at this composition of our electricity. Currently, we generate and consume 280 terawatt hour. That's today. And we expect by 1950, at least we will have to consume 500 terawatt hour. Okay. How do we come up with this number? Currently it's 280. Remember, 280 is only the electricity part, which accounts for about 60% of energy usage. Okay. If we want to get the rest of the energy usage into the electricity sector, because that's more efficient, because that's potentially will be cleaner, then the electricity need to be 500 terawatt hour, 5,000亿度. And this is not taking into account GDP increase. This is not taking into account the increase in AI computing power demand. So I personally believe that we will need 500 terawatt hour much sooner than 250, than 2050. Probably 2040 will reach this number. And by 2050, I think the number will be much higher. Okay. And then let's look at how do we satisfy our current demand. 40% is from coal power generating the electricity, 120 terawatt hour, gas 112, the remaining part, renewables, 27. Nuclear, 17.8. The remaining part, oil and the rest of the small things. And obviously, this is not clean. If we want to transition into a clean electricity, so let's see what we can keep and what we need to increase. Renewables currently 27, and we think we probably, with a lot of effort, we can increase to total is 100. This to add together from 27, we can increase to 100. Beyond that will be very difficult. I cannot say no, but it's difficult. And even achieving this is already difficult. Nuclear power plant. If these two existing nuclear power plants are extended in their service, then we can keep this 15 plus 16 terawatt hour. That's 31 terawatt hour, 310亿度电. Still far below the 280 or 500 that we needed. So how do we get the rest of the power? The white space, a majority power will come from gas, natural gas. But natural gas also produces CO2, even though it's much cleaner. So its emission coefficient is much better than coal. So the first step is using gas power to replace coal-fired power plant. So that's the right direction. But eventually, you still need to clean up gas, because there are two ways to do that. One is CCS, carbon capture and storage. I will talk a little bit about that. The difficult there is storage. Capture is easy. Storage is difficult, especially in Taiwan. So there, storage, we will have to seek international collaboration, ship it somewhere else to store. Indonesia, Palau, perhaps Europe, perhaps Sweden. There's all places that you can store that, but it's a matter of cost. It's a matter of developing that technology. And such technologies still need to be validated. Okay, we can store it, but we need to develop a methodology to validate that it is stored safely and in the quantity that we want. Another possibility is using pyrolysis to clean up the gas. This is what we're currently developing in Academia Sinica, and we have a joint project with Thai Power to develop this process, which can split natural gas to hydrogen and solid carbon. Because you produce solid carbon, you don't have a problem of carbon capture, and it's much more easier to store. I will talk about that later. The remaining part, that we have to rely on new type of renewables, a new type of energy technology. For example, geothermal, bioenergy, ocean energy, and that is still under development. We don't know how lucky we are. We don't know how much we can produce. And I suspect if we are still not able to achieve the demand we want, then we will have to import energy in the form of hydrogen, ammonium, or other hydrogen carrier. Ammonium is nothing more than a hydrogen carrier. Ammonium itself is a hydrogen part that we're interested in. Okay? And that's a possibility that many countries are trying to develop. And how soon that will become a reality, we still don't know. But if the whole world is going to this way, this is a must. Or we'll have to build new nuclear power plants. And this has been talked about in many countries now, but some other, not everybody will accept that, particularly not in your backyard. Okay? People generally accept nuclear power plant is okay, is safe, as long as it's not in my backyard. So that is a social problem that we need to solve. And we're not unique in this aspect. Just about every country has this problem. Okay, so starting 4 years ago, Academia Sinica started surveying all the energy technology, and we came up with a recommendation. These are all possible technologies that Taiwan can use, and we classify in these 4 categories. One part is develop as fast as possible. That means this type of technology has not been talked about, has not been developed by the government investment. The remaining part have been talked about, have been invested by government or other organizations. So that include the methane pyrolysis to produce hydrogen, as I mentioned earlier, geothermal, marine energy, particularly corrosion current 黑潮发电, high efficiency solar cell, biomass, carbon sink. These are the 5 directions that we think need to be implemented, and we are currently doing that. So this is our effort. And the remaining part, the government has been pushing that quite a bit. Wind power, both offshore and onshore. Biomass energy, the intelligent power grid and storage, and of course solar panel, these type of things that the government has been pushing that for years. So before we move forward, let me give you some background. I don't know your background, but since this is a social science building, I assume that most people are not technological savvy. But when we talk about energy, typically there's a big confusion between the installed capacity, which is measured in watt, and the actual electricity generated, which is measured in watt hour. So it's like you have a 100-watt light bulb, a light bulb that you use to light your room, 100 watt, 100 watt 灯泡. How much energy you consume? It depends on how long you turn the light on. So it's a watt multiplied by the hour. It's called watt hour. So watt hour is the actual electricity you pay for. Watt is just the capacity. So the annual electricity generation equals the capacity, installed capacity multiplied by the hours you operate. Okay, they get watt hour. And multiplied by a capacity factor. Sometimes you turn the light off, and sometimes turn the light on. So it's not always consumed that. Suppose you have a base load, meaning that the generator, power generator, turbine is on 24 hours a day and 365 days a year, all the time. Then the capacity factor is 100%. Then if you have a 1 gigawatt of installed capacity is 1 gigawatt times 24 times 365 times 100%. And that becomes 8.7 terawatt hour. Okay, I forgot to put down the terawatt hour. 8.7 terawatt hour, 87亿度. 1 gigawatt will produce 87 亿度. Now, as I said, Taiwan needs 280 terawatt hour. So if we use this generator to produce electricity all the time, 24/7, then we need 32 gigawatt currently. So this is the amount of generation capacity we need. Now, of course, we are not completely reliant on those type of baseload electricity power generator. So if we look at the solar panel, and solar panel has one more constraint, that's it need land size. A solar panel, 1 hectare. 1 hectare is 100 meters square, 100 meters in one direction, 100 meters in the other direction. 1,000 hectares will install 1 gigawatt solar panel. And solar panel efficiency is 22%. This I'll come back to a little bit later. But the capacity factor is 9 to 15%. That means only 12% of the time of a day that it can convert sunlight to power. Of course, only 8 hours a day there's enough sunlight. And among 8 hours a day is equivalent to about 3 hours that is the strongest sunlight. So it's equivalent to 12% of time that is working full time. So that's why capacity factor times the time times the installed power, that give you the actual power that you can generate. As a result, if you have 1 gigawatt of installed solar panel, you produce 1 terawatt hour of electricity. Easy to remember, 1 gigawatt make 1 terawatt hour. Okay, it's 10亿度. So let's calculate again. If we want to satisfy our complete electricity demand of 280 terawatt hour, then we need is 280,000 hectares of land. This is 7% of Taiwan's area. So if you look around, that you'll see everywhere covered with the solar panel. And this is a big, big challenge, almost impossible to achieve. And why other countries can do it? Because we are small and we are crowded. Okay? Taiwan, every person on average, we can only occupy 1,500 square meters. Okay, Korea is 1.2 times higher than Taiwan. Japan 2 times, Germany 2.7 times, US 19 times, and Australia about 200 times. I don't know if you recognize this or not. Australia has the same population as Taiwan. 23 million people in Australia, 23 million people in Taiwan. But look at the land area that they have. So you can install all the renewables you want in Australia or US, but not in Taiwan. We just don't have enough land. So you can only do as much as you can, and this number cannot indefinitely increase. Okay? And we have people counted available land. I'm not going to go through details, but there have been studies of how these available areas are calculated. Some are rooftops, some are the land-based. It's about the same. Maybe you can increase a little bit here and there, but not much. So then you begin to calculate just how much of renewables and solar panel that you can install. This is the total amount of land that you can use. And use a current efficiency of 22%, then this is the total installed capacity you can put in and the total amount of electricity you can generate. But of course, you are not going to use up all the possible areas. So we assume that about 40%, which is already very good. This is 40% of the total area. Then the maximum you can get is about 28 gigawatt. And you will produce about 30 terawatt hour. And that area is about 1.6 times of Taipei's area already. Currently, we have 12 gigawatt hour of solar panel that produce 13 terawatt hours. And the area that we use committed to solar panel is about 0.6 of Taipei area. So this is the order of magnitude that we keep in mind. And another way we look at this is the past few years, we've been working very hard to increase the renewables and indeed make a lot of progress. So 2023, the actual capacity, the electricity we produce is about 13 terawatt hour. And if we continue this progress, let's see how much we can get. You can extrapolate to 2050, or you can increase the efficiency. This is 22%, or increase the efficiency, assuming that this technology is successful in the future. Then how much you can get. Then, but there's another constraint based on the available area. This is the maximum that you can achieve. It's just how fast you can achieve this. And this is about, get back to about 500 E2, or 50 terawatt hour. And this is where we get our 50 terawatt hour from. Okay, so this is about the maximum that we can get. Similarly, you do the same kind of argument with wind power and extrapolate to the later day, but put down the constraint of the total area. Again, you get about 50 terawatt hour. Okay? So that's why we put down on our chart earlier here, solar increased to 50 terawatt hour, wind increased to 50 terawatt hours. Those are on that basis. Okay? But assuming we calculate all the available lands, this is about what we can get. Beyond this, you have to find new land. Okay, beg somebody to use their land for you to install your solar panel or windmill. Okay, not impossible, but difficult. And another point that I want to make is that current solar panel has a conversion efficiency of 22%. That means the sunlight it receives, only 22% of the sunlight is converted to electricity. But this is a technology that we can change. So currently, we are working on a technology in Academia Sinica to increase the efficiency of solar panel conversion rate to 33%. Currently 22, we want to increase to 33% by using a tandem solar cell. 2 layers. The top layer is a material called perovskite, 钙钛矿. The bottom layer is still silicon. Currently, we are only using silicon. And we are developing this technology that has 2 layers. The bottom layer is silicon, top layer is perovskite. And this, if it's successful, it can achieve, we estimate, about 33% of efficiency. And currently, by the end of last year, we already accomplished 28. Okay, it's not too bad. The remaining part, we'll have to scale it up. And we are talking to local companies to jointly develop this technology. And we are very hopeful that this can be on the market in the next 5 years or so. Another major direction that we are pushing is the methane pyrolysis. As I said, one key direction that Taiwan is pushing is to import the LNG, liquefied natural gas, to replace coal. But natural gas also produces CO2. So how do we deal with it? We will have to cleave methane. Methane is the major component in natural gas. Okay? If you remember your high school chemistry, methane is CH4, 1 carbon atom and 4 hydrogen. And we can split this CH bond and produce hydrogen and solid carbon. And this is in this form, solid carbon, not carbon dioxide in the air. So you don't breathe it, you don't have to capture it. All you have to do is collect it. So this methane pyrolysis is not a new technology. It has been in existence for many decades, but efficiency is the problem. Scaling up is a problem. So we have been working on this technology in Academia Sinica, and we make a lot of progress so that we can, we are in the process of scaling it up and increase its efficiency so that it's cheap enough that we can use in power generation. We're currently working with Tide Power in developing this technology, and we hope that we can install this megawatt scale in about 3 years in Xingda, in southern Taiwan. This is a little bit more detail of how this is working. So this is methane, the major component in natural gas, and we basically cleave this bond using a process called pyrolysis that produces hydrogen. And this hydrogen is used in turbine, directly generate electricity. So the electricity generated will be clean electricity. It doesn't produce CO2. The problem there is that it doesn't come from renewable resources. It comes from a fossil source. But we think that the whole world will come to a realization that this is a good transition into the ultimate clean energy. And probably we will never be able to get out of using fossil fuel. If we have to use fossil fuel, then we have to clean it up. And this is a good way to clean it up. And then let me say a few more words about this pyrolysis. It produces solid carbon instead of CO2. And if you remember your high school chemistry, the solid carbon molecular weight is 12. CO2 has a molecular weight of 44. So if you burn methane, you produce 3 times more of CO2 than you generate solid carbon. So weight-wise, already much bigger. Volume-wise is also much bigger because the density of CO2, even if you can liquefy it, the density is smaller. Solid carbon density is larger. So in terms of weight, in terms of volume, it's much more compact. So solid carbon is very easy to store. Not to mention that solid carbon itself is a valuable industrial material. And we can develop that into many applications that create a complete new industry sector. In terms of cost, this is a rough calculation that we made. If you use 4 kilograms of natural gas, you add about 5.3 kilowatt hour, you can produce 1 kilogram of hydrogen, and that will turn to 24 kilowatt hour. So you gain in electricity. If you calculate all the costs related, you find out that in this way, the electricity cost will be 3.6 per kilowatt hour. 每度电 3.6 块. Of course, that's assuming that's 100% efficiency. If you assume that's a 50% efficiency, then it's more expensive, is 4.7 kilo per kilowatt hour, 4.7 度. That's about the same, the price is about the same with what we pay for in Tide Power. Of course, this is an ideal situation. We still need to develop toward that. And this is not counting the K-backs, all the money we have to install there. But good news is that here is only counting the electricity that we generated. We haven't calculated the carbon that we generate. Carbon is a valuable material. Actually, if we can sell this carbon at the price of $10 per kilo, then this electricity price can even go lower below what we are paid for today. It's depending on how we take advantage of this carbon. And this is one example of the equipment. It's splitting natural gas and coming out here is the carbon that we generated. Let me show again. So it's a continuous process that can spit out carbon. This is small scale. We achieved that. Our challenge is how to scale it up. And we have demonstrated this a year ago in Thai Power. It's a very small unit of 60 kilowatt unit. And next stage is a megawatt level. Okay, that will come a little bit later. I think we purchased the unit from Siemens. We are going to purchase. And one key challenge, as I said, is how to take care of the carbon that we generated. And there are many, many possibilities that we can use it. And if we do it right, we can create a completely new industry based on carbon material. We can make that into specialized material using all kinds of industrial sectors. Currently, we can use that as an electrode, high-value electrode. But the amount is not very much. So here, the value increase, but the quantity decrease. Okay? And you can use that as a carbon black. Okay? In making tire, there's a lot of need for carbon black. So this is will be a good usage of that. And carbon black is not cheap. You can develop into fire-resistant building materials. Then you can use a large amount of that in buildings. Or you can use that as a spare fuel. Okay? That will increase the national security in case that we don't have import of energy. So this pyrolysis is one of the key technologies that we are developing. The other technology that we are developing is geothermal energy. Okay, geothermal in Taiwan has not been doing very well, even though Taiwan, Japan, and Philippines, this Pacific Rim area is what the geoscientists call the ring of fire. So there are lots of potential for geothermal energy. And in the past, people in Taiwan dig into the geothermal, but not very successful. It's only less than 1 kilometer deep, maybe 300 or 200 meters. Now we are trying to dig much deeper into 4.5 kilometers. And we started exploration project 2 years ago and worked with CPC and start drilling project here in Yilan. This project began, I think, in November last year. So it's doing quite well. It's drilling as we speak. Now, our goal is to drill down to 4.5 kilometers. Okay? And this has a lot of potential, but still remains as potential. We don't know how much the energy we can produce, but this is the first one. Even if this doesn't produce as much as we expect, then at least we learn from this experience. We can sharpen our tools and refine our models to look for the next well. And very soon we'll commission the second, the third, the fourth wells to develop. So this is one of the key hope that Taiwan can rely on. Just a matter of how much. We definitely will have geothermal. It's a matter of how much. And then my personal estimate is at least 1 gigawatt. Okay, and some people are more optimistic and say 3 or 4, but I think that will take some time. Another possibility is a crucial current. This crucial current comes on the east side of Taiwan, and we have the strongest current speed in the whole Pacific Ring. But it's very difficult to harness that. If we can harness that, it's very stable and very strong current. The difficulty is how do you anchor a turbine on the sea? And so that part is still an engineering problem that we're working with people to solve this. This is a possibility, but will be a little bit down the road. The idea is that we will have a turbine, but anchored to the seabed and use cable to transmit to the shore and distribute it that way. So this is the current energy. The last technology that we are developing is biomass. And here we plan to develop a new variety of very fast-growing plant called pennisetum, which is native in Taiwan, that can fix 6.3 million tons of CO2 per year by using about 100,000 hectares of fallow land in Taiwan. So those lands are not being used in agriculture, 休耕地 or 废耕地. And then we can increase the carbon sink, convert that to biochar, convert that to even biohydrogen, biomethane, even though these are small amount, but it's still a good way to offset the carbon dioxide emission that we cannot reduce. So these are all the possible technologies, but every technology has its pros and cons. So this final slide, I want to argue that these are probably, on the left-hand side, are probably all the possible technology that we can use in Taiwan. Each one has its pros and has its cons. Nothing is perfect. The most important thing is that we have to calculate, estimate how much electricity that it can generate. So on the right-hand side, it has this electricity generated. We leave it blank because we just don't know. And every technology will have to add up to 280 now or 500 in the future. So if you look at this solar, everybody knows that it's carbon-free, it's renewable, it's domestic, but the problem is that it's intermittent and needs a lot of land area. Okay, wind is the same thing. Nuclear is carbon-free and can be base load, but it has a spent fuel problem, it has a safety issue, and a social acceptance issue. Geothermal is carbon-free, renewable, domestic, and base load, but it has a problem in drilling and regulation. We still need to catch up on regulation side. Ocean energy, the major problem is need to develop technology. Otherwise, it's a very good one. And imported hydrogen and ammonium. It's carbon-free, it's potentially renewable if you use renewable electricity to generate hydrogen. Then it becomes renewable. The problem is that you still need to import, and the technology is still immature. Okay. Methane pyrolysis, we are working on that right now. It will be carbon-free, it will be served as a base load, but depending on import, and it's not renewable. It's carbon-free, but it's not renewable. Natural gas plus CCS is low carbon, it can be base fuel. Again, rely on import, non-renewable, and it needs to find storage site. And if it's in Taiwan, it also has a social acceptance issue. So there we probably need to seek international collaboration. And lastly, the biomass, we can use that as a carbon sink, and the little bit of carbon we can, the biomass, we can convert that to SAF, the sustainable aviation fuel, which has become important in the future. But it also needs land. In Taiwan, we don't have enough land. All these mix of technologies will add up to produce the exact electricity we need in the future of 500 or even more. So this concludes my talk, and I don't know if we have time to entertain a few questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Liao. May I invite the photographer to take the group photo for us? And yeah, thank you. OK， 可以，后面的贵宾可以帮我们集中一下吗？到我们的。Thank you. Could be all the guests to sit side by side. Thank you. Let's take a group photo. Let's take a group photo. 3, 2, 1. Smile like. Thank you. May I invite all our distinguished guests to come up to the stage, take a group photo. Thank you. In the meanwhile, we will have a short intermission until 2:40 p.m. Short intermission until 2:40 p.m. After which the Tri-Sector Forum will resume. So, please feel free to grab snacks, refreshments, or take a moment to relax. Okay. Smile. Okay. Thank you. 我们会有 Yeah, we have the short intermission. 我们有一个小小的中场休息哦，到2:40，我们的论坛会再持续。We'll have a short intermission until 2:40 Welcome back, everyone. Let me introduce the three special guests of the Tri-Sector Forum. First, let's welcome Academia Representative Professor Gui Tianzhou, Director, RIC Society and the Policy Research Center, National Taiwan University. Please come to the stage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Gui Tianzhou, Risk Society and Policy Research Center, National Taiwan University. So today, I am very pleased to be invited to chair this afternoon forum. And today we are very honored to invite two distinguished speakers. The first speaker is Director General Climate Change Administration, Ministry of the Environment. And the second distinguished speaker is Chairman Brent Grunert, who is actually the Chairman, President, and the CEO of Siemens Corporation, Taiwan. So before the two guests talk, I will give some words, some issue for today's after forum, and then after my brief talk, we will give the two speech, and then we will have the dialogue and then open to the floor. Okay. Okay, I want to raise the issue for facilitating the dialogue for the afternoon forum. The issue is the climate emergency and net zero emission transition challenge. So, so first of all, I will actually to show some severe climate disaster recently, and then we will to show and to know some of the driven powers which trigger the global trend of the net zero emission 2050. I think this is a very important issue. In these sessions, President Liao has already given us some implication of some way by scientific instrument to engage in the net zero transition. I think this is also important. And to the final, I will give a brief reflection how to create the win-win strategy. So we know this is a Typhoon Japanese severe damage Guangxi International Airport in 2018. Okay, this is very impressive. Then later, the typhoons Hagibis struck Japan in 2019, and then in May 2020, while the COVID-19 broke out in China, so you know there's a South China experienced severe flooding. So you see, and this again, Japan faced heavy flooding in 2020. Okay, and then particularly in Taiwan, we actually faced a severe drought in 2021. If you remember these things, okay, and in July 2021, catastrophic flooding occurred in Western Germany. This actually changed the Germany government and also formulated a new geopolitics. That the German government actually have more engagement with Taiwan. Okay, this is actually a very important event. So we can see a climate issue can change the geopolitics, can change the relationship between Taiwan and Germany. Okay, and again, the same time, heavy rain hit in Henan province, China. Okay, and then at the same time, you see that the wildfire engulfed Latin village in Canada. So you can see Latin village is not too far. Okay. Back to. Oh, okay. It's not too far to Vancouver. It's about Taipei to Kaohsiung. Yeah, far. So it's it was 49.6 6 grad. You know the newest news is the wildfire threat the human livelihood in Los Angeles. Okay, the today news is already 5 persons' life was brought. Okay, so this is actually very important. And same time, August 2001 wildfire ravaged Ava Island. It's a very famous tourist island. Yeah, okay, Greeceland. And then in September 2021, Hurricane Ida struck New York and New Jersey. Okay, so it's very similar. And later, the extreme flooding again in British Columbia, Canada. Okay, and then summer 2022, severe drought in the UK and devastating wildfire again in southern European, and you can see the regional damage issue. Okay, and what astonished is that in summer 2023, just not far to our memory, the Western wildfires ravaged Maui Island, Hawaii. So if you remember, Hawaii is so beautiful, but this is actually another situation. So this wildfire actually brought over 100 people's life. Okay, so and in Canada, actually human experienced the most severe forest wildfire on record, and you can see the smoke actually widespread to North America, including USA. So this is very astonishing. So I would like to show this picture. This picture is actually the drought by Edward Munch in 1893, called the screen. Okay, this is actually a symbolize of the risk civilization. Yeah, actually the human-made disaster to threat human life itself. Okay, so this is very interesting. So this is the Taiwan version of screen. Yeah, this is a dance. Yeah, created by Lin Huaimin. Yeah, Mr. Lin Huaimin. By Cloud Gate Culture. Yeah, 云门舞集. So okay, Lin Huaimin, Mr. Lin also used some Buddhist text, Jin Gang Jin content, called everyone is fine dust, but we suffer under the human-made climate disaster threat. Okay, so this is. So we see that in order to limit global warming to 2 degrees in 2100, so the IPCC, everyone knows that urged that greenhouse gas concentration need to remain at around 450 ppm in 2050. But it's very hard, work. So we see there are some dream power to trigger the global net zero emission in 2025. So the first one is the COP26 declaration that COP26 was held in Glasgow, UK in 2021, and they have a very important declaration after the Paris Agreement in 2015 called the world have to reach net zero emission in 2050. Okay. So you can see more than 136, now it's 38 countries commit to become carbon neutrality by 2050, 2060. And IPCC scientists urged this year, 2025, the world have to arrive the peak of GHG emission. Later, we have to use any strategy to reduce the GHG emission. So this is a very key year. But China said their peak will arrive in 2030. So this is a gap, okay? And then you can see those countries actually accounting for 91 of GDP, 83 of emission, and 80% of the populations. So the second driving power, we know there's many famous enterprise or brands commit to RE100. Okay, so this is a very important issue. If you remember what President Liao said, yeah, more and more CH2 emission, yeah, come from electricity generation. So green power is a very important way that people try to make effort to do it. So Taiwan is the global supply chain. So we also, our company, our enterprise are also requested, yeah, to use more renewable energy. So, and the third stream power is the EU carbon border adjustment mechanism. And the US version of the CBAM is a Clean Competition Act. So, so many countries, including Taiwan, just try to estimate the impact of those kinds of carbon tariff. So you can, we also estimate the impact of CCA. But remember, Mr. Trump might repeal the CCA, okay? So the fourth stream power is EU tax money regulation. This is a very important issue that the European Union government try to make a framework, try to trigger the enterprise to actually engage more in climate, in carbon reduction and the environmental protection. So this is very important issue, and this we will realize in CBAM, okay, in CBAM, carbon border adjustment mechanism. We said we also usually say this is a 碳关税, okay, as a carbon tariff, okay. So Taiwan, maybe Director General Chai will later also introduce. We have our version of the CBAM or Taiwan version, okay. So this is the sixth category of the EU taxonomy regulation. And the fifth stream power is now the update, progress is European Union engage more, not only EU taxonomy concentrate on environmental and climate governance. Now it's concentrate on, I think, on human right, labor right, gender, social equality. So nowadays, when the enterprise want to engage more their competition in the world, they have to, to do more, to the labor, to the gender, to the social equality, including the salary. Okay, so this is actually those kind of. So my next slide is to say, how can we actually meet the global challenge of net zero emission by geopolitics? This year, just several days ago, Eurasia Group actually published their so-called 2025 top 10 risk. The first top risk is the normally we say G7, okay? G7 country as a leader, the world to peace, to trade and also to climate, governments. Now, but they say this year, including you can see the situation in Canada, in Germany, okay, in French, okay, all leader, might be, step down or the changed. So this is a zero risk, okay. And then the second risk is Trump's second presidency. Okay, I think we just open our eyes to see what happened. Okay, next week is Princeton University's colleague will visit Taiwan. I will also want to have some dialogue with them. Okay, so President Trump might withdraw from Paris Agreement. He already announced that the USA will, withdraw from WHO, right? So people, concerned that mainland China will intervene late and expand their global power. Okay. So secondly, Mr. Trump might repeal CCA, Clean Competition Act, and the U.S. tariff, policy may influence global economy. I think this might be real, okay? And the global economic recession might influence the performance of the EU CBAM. If we don't have disturb about the climate governance based on seabed, I think the world can go forward quickly, to carbon reduction. For example, Taiwan actually by the seabed's pressure, so we actually construct our carbon-free institution, our carbon price institution. So the global economic reception now actually to to force some countries, maybe their government changed. So we don't know what happened occur. So we face the geopolitics, Ukraine, Russia war, Israel and Hamas war, also bring some turbulence, economic turbulence, or the market turbulence that's influence all the global economic situation, and that would also influence the progress of the GHG emission, of the net zero emission, plus Trump's component. So you can see that. So what is the win-win strategy? I think that I would like to show this question, before that we can discuss that later in our afternoon forum. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we will have invited Director General Chai, give us 20 minutes talk. Okay, welcome.
Let's welcome Government Representative Lin Yitai, Director General, Climate Change Administration, Ministry of Environment.
Thank you, Professor Zhou and the Chairman Zhang. Okay, and the distinguished guest. It's my honor to share Taiwan's strategies and the achievements on climate governance. So I think it's quite cold in Taipei these past few days. But I think, I hope we can remember that we have experienced very hot in 2023 and 2024. So according to the WMO, 2024 on track to be the hottest year on record. And it's the warmest temporarily hits 1.5 degrees Celsius. Furthermore, the past 10 years are the warmest on record. The pace of the global warming is accelerating. And as the Professor Zhou mentioned, the severity and the frequency of disaster caused by extreme weather are increasing. But the carbon dioxide concentration in atmosphere continue to rise. This is the report from the UNEP 2024. The cover title is No More Hot Air, Please. So it mentioned that global greenhouse gas emissions set a new record of 57 gigatons in 2023 and 1.3% increase from 2022 levels. The report also called on countries to increase their ambition to reduce carbon emission. They asked countries have to cut 42% by 2030 and by cut 57% by 2035 to get on track for 1.5 degrees Celsius. NDC, the nationally determination contribution are at the heart of the Paris Agreement because which will achieve the long-term goals. As the Mr. Simon Steele, the Executive Secretary of UNFCCC noted that NDC 3.0 are the investment plans for the future. The NDC, according to Paris Agreement, parties are requested to submit the next round of NDC by 2020, and every 5 years to thereafter. So the NDC to be submitted in 2025 this year, also known as the NDC 3.0, are to be informed by the outcomes of the first global stock take. So every country will have their NDC this year, and this may be the last opportunity to put the world on track with a global emission trajectory, which is the conclusion by the COP28 and the COP29. So in Taiwan, we also have our 2050 net zero pathway. In 2021, our President Tsai announced the net zero target. And in 2023, the Climate Change Response Act target enacted into the law. And now we have the new NDC, and also the President Lai asked the government to increase our emission reduction target. And in last year, the government will establish a Chief Sustainability Officer Alliance. This is Taiwan's climate governance. According to the Climate Change Response Act, we have the mitigation and the adaptation national plan. The National Council of Sustainable Development coordinate the government agencies. We also have our 5-year periodic regulatory goals. Now we are in the second phase, which is from 2021 to 2025. We will reduce 10% greenhouse gas emission compared to the base year of 2005. But indeed, we still have to do more, because last year, maybe we will reduce only less than 5%. So we have many jobs have to do. And we also have sectoral greenhouse gas reduction action program, including from the energy, manufacture, transportation, residential and commercial, agriculture and environment. And we also have the local government to have their greenhouse gas reduction implementation program. In the climate adaptation, we have National Climate Change Adaptation Action Plan, and we also have Climate Change Adaptation Implementation Program from the local government. So May 20th last year, our President Lai announced that we will establish a National Climate Change Committee under the office of the President. The committee is convened by the President Lai Ching-te, and there are 3 deputy conveners, also including 24 members. The executive secretary is the Minister of the Environment, which is the Peng Qiming. He is the executive secretary. And under this committee, they will have focusing on 7 key areas, including the net zero pathway, sustainable green lifestyle, green finance, just transition, also green energy and carbon reduction technology, green digital twin transformation, and sustainable homeland and adaptive resilience. So this is the photo by the first committee meetings. You can see the academic senate, the Liao Yuanzhang, and also our Professor Zhou, also they are the member of the committee. Enhance climate action to improve industrial and the national reduction goal is the one of the focus issues under the committee. So after the second meeting, the President Lai announced that we will establish the ambitions of the new carbon reduction goals to re-evaluate the 2030 goals and establish Taiwan's new carbon reduction goals for 2032 and 2035. This figure shows that the greenhouse gas emission trend since 2005. You can see the peak of the greenhouse gas emission is 2007, and then we have slowly reduction, and the first INDC for Taiwan is to reduce 20% by 2030, and then when we improve our national reduction goal to net zero, so 2022 we have our enhanced NDC to achieve 24 plus minus 1%. And now recently, the executive yuan by our Vice Premier Zheng Lijun, she convened government agencies, and we have in many meetings, and we discussed to increase our reduction goal, but we will reduction 28% plus minus 2%. This goal we just announced last month, and we will public hearing on February this year. Maybe you will have the question, how can we raise the target? From this slide, you can see that we have 4 major transitions: the energy and the industrial transition, and the lifestyle and the social transition, which is announced by in 2022. And we also have 12 key strategies for net zero. Recently, the executive yuan, we have the bottom up and the top down strategies, and we also have the national flagship programs, reduction programs, so including the renewable energy development and the breakthrough like geothermal or small hydro power or energy storage technology, carbon reduction, hydrogen burning technology, and also the deep energy saving strategies to enhance our reduction goal. We also have 5 pillars, including the technological innovation, financial support, carbon pricing, regulation, and green talent. We also have the national adaptation program actions. Last year, the National Science and Technology Council and the Ministry of Environment, we have the National Climate Change Science Report. And we also have the national adaptation and the localized adaptation strategies. Next, I will have some carbon pricing mechanisms in Taiwan to share with you. Taiwan will have our carbon fee this year. And the entities subject to carbon fees, they are power and the gas supply industry and the manufacturing industries, which will emissions more than 25,000 metric tons will be collect carbon fee. And only 281 companies, their 500 factories will be collect the carbon fee. So the mechanism will started this year, but they have their carbon fee next year. And the rate of the carbon fee is, we are two rate. One is the general standard carbon fee, which is 300 per ton. And the preferential rate is 50 NT dollars, and the other is 100 NT dollars. This figure shows that if the entity, they have their self-determined reduction plan, they will have the preferential rate. But if the entity do not want to have the reduction plan, they only use the general rate, which is 300 NT dollars. We also have the mechanism. It's about to prevent the carbon leakage, like the EU ETS, because the cement or steel or petroleum industries, they are they are based on the emission intensity and the trade intensity. So in this mechanism, this high carbon leakage risk industry, they may have the reduction coefficient. In the beginning, the coefficient is about 0.2 factors. So it means only 20% of their emission will be collect the carbon fee. That and this mechanism will transition to and the increase. We will depend on the international development, like the EU ETS, because they will reduce their free allocations. So this is the roadmap of Taiwan's carbon pricing mechanisms. Since we will have the carbon fee mechanism 2025, and we suppose most of these entities will have their carbon voluntary reduction plans. So maybe we will have 37 million tons reduction by 2030. But if we want to increase our reduction goal or to 2032 or 2035, we have increased or implement more and more carbon pricing mechanism. So our minister asks us to have the ETS, like a cap and trade mechanism. Maybe we will starting 2028. And we also have the voluntary mechanism. We will, the Taiwan Ministry of the Environment, we issue the reduction credits for the voluntary emission reduction, and they can have the carbon offset and the Taiwan carbon exchange to have the mechanism to create more and more entity to join the carbon reductions. Finally, the government will invest and try driving the green growth into private sector by establishing net zero carbon budget. For example, our carbon fee revenue will have 6 billion in 2026, but this is not enough. So the Ministry of Environment, we have the National Development Fund. It's about 10 billions to invest new innovation industries to encourage the green growth. And the government also want to have the green expenditures. We will increase the 10% of the green expenditures by 2030. And we also will strengthen government incentive measures and promoting green and traditional finance. Hope we can achieve and to enhance our greenhouse gas reduction. So this is my brief presentation about the climate governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General Ng Yi-tai. Thank you. And now let's welcome Industry Representative Frank Hunter, Chairman, President, and CEO, Siemens Limited Company, Taiwan.
Thank you very much, Director General Tsai, for this very interesting presentation of local politics in Taiwan. And Professor Zhou, also thank you very much for the geopolitical insights. And although he's already gone, but I think the information and the facts given by Dr. Liao were also really, really interesting. And I'm very glad that I can be here today and also to give the perspective from the industry. So not only from the governments and from the research and academia, but the industry is also an important player in becoming more sustainable. And Siemens is one of the largest tech companies globally, and I am the representative of Siemens here in Taiwan. You know, digitalization and becoming sustainable is a growing need globally, and also here in Taiwan. And it's fundamentally changing also the business landscapes in all countries. And there's a huge transformation going on. And as you know, transforming and changing is a very hard process. So you need a partner to help you, to counsel you, and to provide solutions and food for thought. And this is exactly what Siemens also intends to do, to be the trusted partner here also in Taiwan for the topic of becoming more sustainable. Okay, let me do this one moment. No. It's pretty slow, I have to say. Yes. So for us in Siemens, this is also a personal topic and a big journey. Siemens was founded in 1857. It's a very old company. I'm in Siemens now for 18 years, since 2006. And in this time span of Siemens, 177 years since 1857. And since I'm in Siemens in 18 years, the company has changed all the time. So we have gone through a lot of transformations, from a telecom company to an industrial conglomerate, from an industrial conglomerate most recently to a tech company. In fact, today Siemens is one of the 10 biggest software companies globally. It's not only Microsoft, Google. Siemens is in this number 10 list, and we are actually the biggest industrial software provider globally. So we know a little bit also about change and transformation. Looking at the situation globally which we have, we can really see, given on all the information which was given by Professor Zhou, for example, today, that climate change is real. It's a topic which is not going away. It's a topic which is affecting us. And we believe that technology is the key enabler for us in order to solve not only the impact of climate change, but also to fight climate change. So providing digital technologies is actually the key in order to help us avoiding a climate crisis, as Bill Gates put it in his pretty famous book, Avoiding a Climate Crisis. For us, so how do we do that, using technology to avoid a climate crisis? So we have a strategy in Siemens, you see this on the slide, to combine the real and the digital world. Because combining the real and the digital world allows us to use technology to optimize resource efficiency, to minimize resource use. And in Taiwan, I know you have the strategy of Jian-Tan, which is written here. So which is on the one hand side, of course, you have to reduce carbon emissions. And this is what Dr. Liao talked about a lot today, reducing the carbon emissions. But there is also another side, which is improving the resource efficiency. And by doing these two things, reducing the carbon emissions and improving the resource efficiency, to address the shortages which we have in Taiwan when it comes to water, electricity, land, workforce, talent. And technology can help us here a lot. It's a key enabler for this. So how does this work in reality? I have brought with me a couple of examples, actually, real life, here in Taiwan, from Siemens, of course, how Siemens is today already helping to address these issues and to help also Taiwan and companies in Taiwan to deal with sustainability, the climate change, the new laws which are coming, which were introduced just now. So here an example from Taichung. You know, Taichung is the manufacturing base. A lot of small and medium-sized enterprises are there, family businesses. It's the manufacturing base of Taiwan. There is a company called Hota Industrial, another one Goodway Machinery, so machine building business. And we from Siemens, we have a solution called Siemens Adaptive Control and Monitoring, which is actually a technology solution where AI is used. So AI algorithms are constantly, during the manufacturing process, improving and adjusting the settings and the parameters of the machine in order to improve production output and to minimize resource use. So this results in less material use because, for example, tools, when you have drilling tools or milling tools in milling machines, there is abrasion. And when you can calibrate and recalibrate the tools during the production process, you can minimize this abrasion, so you use less tools, which in fact means you not only save money because you don't have to buy less tools, but less tools need to be produced, which makes us in the whole supply chain more sustainable. Also, energy consumption is optimized during the machining process using this AI engine. When it comes to buildings, you know, Dr. Liao said 56% of electricity consumption in Taiwan is in the industrial space, if you remember that pie chart he showed us today. 40% of CO2 emissions are coming from buildings, 40%. So in buildings is a huge key for net zero actually. Because in buildings, constantly energy is used. Yeah? The door is open, the air conditioner is on. It's here, now, today. We are wasting energy, actually. Yeah? And this is everywhere the case. So if we can deal and address this topic in buildings, a big step is done. I have two examples here. So the Da'an Post Office, for example, here in Taipei, and the Development Center for Biotechnology in the Shichi branch, the Shichi branch in the Shichi district, we have deployed a solution which combines hardware and software, where we have exchanged the chillers for the air conditioning system, for the HVAC, and the inverters, together with a software solution which provides an AI engine to automatically optimize the energy consumption of the HVAC based on certain parameters of the building, which are, for example, number of people in the building, because we have access control and we can calculate that, and that data goes into the AI engine, which are anyway population in the rooms of the buildings, so that we are not having the same temperature setting in each room, but it's adapted based on room size, population in the room at any given time, and so on. And the savings we can see here in real life are really impressive. You see the numbers here, 50 to 60% saving in energy consumption for CO2 emission. You see the numbers in kilowatt. I think I've known, yeah, to see the numbers in kilowatt hours there. This is only one building. Now imagine we would deploy such technology nationwide and think about we would have this in every building. How much energy we would save. So it's not only what Dr. Liao said this morning, that we have to look at the generation side of energy, we also have to look at the consumption side. And there are a lot of levers and things we can do with technology which is available today, which can help us on both sides, on the generation side and on the consumption side. In fact, I'm convinced we need to go in parallel because time is running out. I mean, you showed a lot of, let's say, impressive pictures about wildfires and so on. I mean, today we have this wildfire in the US. Houses are just burning down. And this is clearly because it's too dry. It's too dry. When I take the airplane quite a lot. When I fly, I really feel this. In the last, I'm flying a lot. Of course, I'm not a good example when it comes to CO2 emission by flying. But when I fly, since in the last 20 years, turbulences are getting really more and more. I can feel this myself as a passenger. And scientists say we are now at 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial age of global temperature. The Paris Accord said 1.5 degrees the limit. We are already hitting it now. We will go up even more. You know, flying will be really hard, to be honest. It will become really, really bad. A lot of things will become more bad. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we are reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We are instead increasing them continuously. I have another number for you. I read this before the meeting here. So it's in the UN database, United Nations database. In 2019, before COVID, the global greenhouse gas emissions, so CO2 equivalent, were 51 billion tons, 51 billion. Last year in 2024, the latest number, we had 57 billion tons, 14% more, 14% more. So it's not going down, it's to the contrary, going up. We really have to do something, we have to speed up the effort. And this is why I say we must look at all means in order to slow down our greenhouse gas emissions, not only generation, but also on the energy saving side and on the resource usage side. My example with the drill and the tool, I think, is a good example for this one. So one key component in all of this was also mentioned a lot of times today is Taiwan Power Corporation. So Taiwan Power Corporation is running the grid. So it's not only important to look at the generation, that we generate green energy and CO2-free energy, so not emitting CO2. It's also important to look at the grid, because it doesn't help you to build a lot of renewables when your grid cannot deal with it. And here software also plays a big role. Digital technologies play a growing role. And so Siemens at the moment, we are installing for Taiwan Power Corporation the so-called Central Dispatch System, Central Dispatch and Control System, CDCS, which is actually the brain of the electrical grid in Taiwan. So from this, you see the picture here. There are engineers sitting in front of huge computer screens, and they are controlling the electricity flow on the transmission level in Taiwan. So basically from the generation to the distribution centers, to the load centers, which is really, really an important thing to also look on, that we have enough grid capacity which can deal with the inflow and the consequences of putting the renewable assets into the grid. And here I have an example for you how software without without investment into hardware, just by deploying software, you can actually increase the capacity of the grid. You can pump more electricity through the cable. How you do that? We call that dynamic line rating, which is the last bullet point here. So in an electricity grid, the number of power, or the amount of power which can be transmitted through a cable, is actually limited by the surrounding temperature. The hotter it gets, the less power you can pump through the cable. And the grid needs to be protected, so the protection devices in the grid which protect the cable from melting are set at that temperature point, which is the highest. And so when the temperature is lower, the weather allows actually more capacity in the grid. The cable does not give this capacity, because the protection device would say, okay, I tripped this cable in order to protect it. Now, if you would take weather data and you would feed that weather data into an algorithm in that system, which automatically adjusts the set points of these protection devices, you would automatically be able to have more capacity in your grid. Because most days in the year, it's colder than the hottest day of the year, correct? And so on average, only by this software which you would deploy, you could increase the grid capacity by 20%, which is a very good example how digital technologies and deploying what we have already today can help us in becoming more sustainable. Actually also a cheap way. It's not expensive to do that. So these were some examples what Siemens already is doing in Taiwan. Of course, there are many more. But important is that we cannot do this alone. So this is really something we need to tackle together. The economy, the industries, the businesses, the academia, the governments, the press need to work together in ecosystems and in partnerships in order to tackle this. And I give you some examples here now in the next slide from the business world, how these ecosystems work in partnerships, also related to Siemens. So one is Microsoft. So Microsoft, you know, they have this partnership with OpenAI. They have the Copilot in Microsoft Office 365. Now Siemens, together with Microsoft, we have developed the so-called industrial Copilot, where the human-machine interface in the factory is enhanced with the industrial co-pilot capabilities in order to use AI to optimize production processes. With AWS, this is Amazon Web Services, one of the biggest cloud providers globally. They have a library of AI models. They call it Amazon Bedrock. And Siemens has an application called Mendix, where you can code new software without any coding knowledge, low-code platform. This Bedrock is now integrated into Mendix, so anyone actually can program software, even without knowledge, using AI models from Amazon. So a huge innovation potential in there, helping us to become more sustainable. With NVIDIA, of course, there's a long-year partnership between Siemens and NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has the Omniverse, and here Siemens is working together with our accelerator portfolio of software solutions with NVIDIA in order to build the so-called industrial metaverse, which helps us to simulate things before we produce them. Just as an example, and a sustainability number, 80% of the CO2 footprint of anything produced, 80% of the CO2 footprint of anything produced is already defined in the design phase of that product. So when you optimize your design, you can optimize the CO2 footprint of that product. So this is why it's important to look at virtualization, digital twins. This is why it's important to look at the digital world, not only at the real world. So this is why it's important that we combine the digital and the real world. Foxconn, we have a partnership with Honhai Technology, where we help Honhai globally to improve the efficiency of their manufacturing using the Siemens Sustainability Accelerator portfolio. So for the EV production, electric vehicle production of Honhai, for the IT and communication products of Honhai, we are working with our digital twin models in order to improve their production processes before they start production. And this is not only helping Honhai economically, because saving cost, it's also helping society, because then these products get produced more sustainably. And last but not least, we have an application called Robot Pick AI, where an artificial intelligence software is integrated into a robotic arm from KUKA, and then automatically this device can recognize any item in the factory, it can sort it. So replacing basically workers and making things more qualitative in the production process, helping us to save resources. This is also a solution we are in an ecosystem. We are with a partnership become more sustainable. Now, you saw just now in this brief presentation a couple of examples and use points how technology can be used in order to become more sustainable. And I urge all of us to work together to embrace this. Let's embrace technology and use technology as the key enabler to become more sustainable, to save energy and to save resources and become more efficient, and deal with the climate change. And let's do this together. And with this, I'm ending my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gurner. May I invite you to remain on stage? Mr. Gurner, can I invite you? Okay. And please welcome Professor Zhou and Director General Lin Yicai. Thank you.
Thank you for the two speakers give us very inspired talk. So until now, we still have the first 1 hour discussion. So we will first have some, I will raise some question to the speaker. And then if you have any question, you can actually raise your hand, either Mandarin or English. We have translator, okay? So then we can get the opinion exchange. Okay. So first of all, I want to go back to the Taiwan's policy foresight. So we know that the Ministry of the Environment just at the end of the last year, yeah, 12月30号，环境部 actually released a draft for the third phase of the sector greenhouse gas reduction target. The Taiwan government actually that now aims for 28 reduction plus or minus 2% by 2030. Okay, based on 2005 levels. So 我还是用中文先讲一下哈，就是说我们环境部12月底哈，就是说彭部长刚刚蔡署长有讲哈，就是宣布我们2030的一个减碳的目标哈，第3期部门期程的减碳目标是就是加减28哈，加减28 2030，那以2005的基础哈，2005的基础。So the GHG emissions in 2005 is about, I remember it's about 270 million ton. Okay, 差2.7亿吨。Okay, so we have a small ambitious target in 2030, but that is actually also conservative to the international level. So I want to actually please Director General Tsai to explain this project or this policy progress in detail. Okay.
Professor Zhou, when we're talking about the greenhouse gas emission reductions, globally, we have to have the same climate action to increase our ambitions. So the President Lai asked the Executive Yuan and the government agency how to increase our emission reduction. So we have the strategies to discussing our emission structures. You know, the greenhouse gas emission in Taiwan, we have 52% from the manufacturing sector, and more than 20% from the commercial and the residential sector, and maybe 30% from the transportation. So the Executive Yuan asked the ministries to have their bottom-up measures to discussing these measures, how to increase and to increase the carbon reduction. So energy saving is the first priority for all of us. So you may know from the Ministry of the Economic Affairs, they will have increased the energy saving, not in the manufacture, but also in the residential and the commercial sectors. And we also encourage the government to have new innovation to improve the new energy like geothermal and hydrogen. And we also encourage to have the carbon capture and storage. The most important thing is the digital transition, like the chairman said. So, but at the same time, the AI strategies will also the high electricity consumptions. So we are discussing the electricity consumption by 2030 and how to increase the renewable energy, and at the same time we will have the gas to instead the power a coal power electricity. So we have a new carbon emission in 电力排碳系数 electricity carbon emission intensity to reduce more than 30% by 2030. I think this is the most important thing for the government. And we have the new goal is about 28 plus minus 2%. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this question to Chairman. So I think you have just give us some example for the energy saving by AI or by digitalization. We know that the process in the world in 2018, people just urged that the digitalization might connect with sustainability. So I think this progress, is speed up. And in your example that you showed some is building energy saving, manufacture energy saving, even the type power. Okay, that their operation and assistant to energy saving. So, in your view, that what the Taiwan manufacturing sector can actually give a big step to carbon reduction involving energy saving. I think in my way, it's one because you have to just show the Hetai, in Middle Taiwan, in Taichung, that actually use your AI system, AI-driven learning system that can give some percent of the energy saving. So by those kinds of the examples, can they, one way they get the energy saving benefit, on the other way they can change, their the produce system, even their production system. I mean that's also related to, if you got this idea or got this example, they might help Taiwan's manufacturer enterprise to make industrial transition. You know, that is related to the competition. If I can make more flexible production for the market, I actually, on one way, I got the carbon reduction, and saving. On the other hand, I change my body, okay, to industrial transition. What is your perspective?
Yes, so exactly right. Actually, it's not a bad thing to become sustainable. In fact, you become more competitive because these technologies help you to save resources, and this is what sustainability is all about. Net zero, the drive to net zero, is the most important driving force in the whole sustainability arena, but it's also becoming more resource efficient. You know, we live on planet Earth, and Earth only has finite resources. At the moment, we talk a lot about global warming and greenhouse gas emissions and so on, which is the most pressing problem we need to solve. And here, AI, I think, is the game changer if we get it right, and also will accelerate this. But you know, we have a lot of other resources we need to look at. And when you look at Taiwan specifically, the island is not really rich in resources. So, and there's a lot of similarity also to Germany, by the way, Germany as well. So both our countries need to import a lot of resources, manufacture, and this is where we are strong in manufacturing, and export. And so deploying these technologies like this AI engine, which is automatically calibrating the production machines based on temperature, based on material usage, based on abrasion of the tools, is helping us actually to become more competitive, to save money, to produce more, and more than others, and to keep wealth, also to maintain wealth, to get it all in once. The win-win strategy.
I want to check your opinions that because you already in Siemens for about 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
Yeah. What is your opinion that because Taiwan meets very similar question like Germany for energy transition and industrial transition? I think in Taiwan we actually we engage a lot of the energy transition. But the difficulty is the industrial transition. Will you give us some suggestion that Taiwan can make big step in the industrial transition?
Yes. One thing is about the mindset. Yeah. So we need to basically nurture the mindset in the society, not only with the businesses, that we need to change quickly. And that this change to sustainability, to become more sustainable, is a good thing. It's not a hurdle, or it's not a barrier, and it's not a burden for us. It is a good thing. So we need to emphasize more the good things, the side effects, the good side effects which come with it. Another topic is, of course, that we need to embrace a more agile approach. So what I see a lot, especially the government can be a role model here for society and for businesses. What I see a lot is still we are making big budgets. We have a budget once per year, and this is encouraging government agencies, government companies to come up with big projects, instead of smaller ones. And actually this is slowing us down. So we should more look into setting up programs and initiatives and slice it up into smaller projects. So I'll really go for these small, even if you don't really know the end result, but you have a program where you know approximately in which direction you want to go, and this is predefined in the guardrails, but then you allow flexibility and slicing it up so that you can do something, test it, fail, do something again, win, be successful, move on. Instead of these long-term, cycles. I mean, Dr. Liao today, what he showed us, this is not a change which happens fast. This is not something where, which will happen in 10 years. It will not happen in 10 years. We are looking here at decades. Only planning a new power plant and building it takes years, So I think it would be wise to slice it up and make it smaller. And what I also would like to say in this regard is for Taiwan and for, because we have someone here from the government, this digital I like this, your statement, so digital technologies are the key. And this is also why in my presentation I emphasized the importance of virtualization, of digital twins. So we should encourage the industry to invest more into simulation before producing something in real life, because this gives us the chance to simulate the optimization, not only of the design of the product, but also of the production process. So not only the product optimization, but also the production, the process optimization, and do all of this in the virtual world. Today with the tools we have, it's already working out quite well. The adoption speed of this in the industry could be faster. And maybe here a stimulus is something which could be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your third suggestion. I think this is very important for our enterprise to give more the digital simulations for production scenario and for market scenario. I think for the first point about the mindset, this is actually very challenging because Taiwan, like South Korea, even Japan, so we are actually the very key global supply chain. But actually we are the global manufacturer supply chain. So we actually carry many carbon, GHG emissions. So the difficulty how to transit, and we have to write the mindset change is very important. How can we actually run a manufacturer supply chain, to maybe another ways supply chain. I think this is very important. AI maybe is Taiwan's opportunity. And to the second point, I want to actually ask to Director General, because the Chairman has mentioned about the government roles. As we know that now the Taiwan government want to speed up the GHG emission in 2030. So they have the 6 flagship programs, including 140 projects. I know that. And the chairman mentioned that the first step in Germany, they have to give some big budget, yeah, to launch by the governmental sector and to penetrate to the private sector. So it will create a good circumstance, yeah, for innovation and for energy saving, yeah, and so on. So what is actually the, if you had present that, I think, can you give us more detailed content? What is the ambitious target that Taiwan's government want to engage more?
Ministry of the Environment and the Council of the Finance, 经管会, yeah, and the Ministry of the Economic Affairs. Like we have a working group. We were discussing not only the net zero pathway. We also discussing the finance, because now the government each year we have the 1,000 NT 10 billion NT dollars about net zero related government investment, which the most 大部分 comes from the use， 应该是说大部分用在这个电力的这个再生能renewable energy and the 稳定供电的 electricity 这个怎么讲？稳定supply。Okay. And now we are discussing to more government investment to the green transition and to the digital transition. So which will according to the new reduction goal, which we are discussing this year, and then we will have the new project and about the government finance to the net zero.
Yeah. So as I know, the government want to launch the so-called green growth funding, 绿色增长基金 for 10 billion NTW, so 100亿. And not only the government want to actually conduct this green growth funding, they will in the policy they want to encourage the banking, yeah, either the public banking or the private banking to invest more, yeah, in different way of the decarbonization. Either I think this so-called transition 转型基金嘛，转型基金 transition funding, and to help the high carbon manufacturer enterprise to transit their produce or their competition, yeah, in the world. On the other way, to encourage the more and more capital, yeah, into the green, green way, into the green technology or the renewable energy, something like else. So we actually now Taiwan also comprehensively to build some energy saving system, yeah. For example, the energy battery, okay. So this is a very important way. That's so I think this is an opportunity that not only the governmental sector, but also in the policy that the private sector, the private banking will be also encouraged to invest, yeah, and increase and create new circumstance of the green growth in Taiwan. I think this is a good way that because I studied in Germany, yeah, my doctoral studies. So I try to look at what the way of the Germany to make their industrial transition and the energy transition. So do you have any some more? Yeah.
I think when you look at Germany, at the moment, I would wish Germany would act a little bit faster. Germans are people who are avoiding uncertainties from a cultural perspective, so very much uncertainty avoidance is in the foreground. If you have been there, you know that, which is good because then you produce high quality products, right, which we are known for. But now when we have to speed up, we are a little bit too slow. So this is maybe a hint also for Taiwan, speed up. Yeah? And when you look at what a government can do, a lot next to giving money, you know, giving money is the easiest thing. Changing a mindset requires more than just giving money. Also encouraging the businesses to invest in these kind of technologies. You don't have to give money in the first place. You can do this also via depreciation, for example. You can encourage investment into these kind of technologies by allowing companies to depreciate faster this investment. And of course, in the end, this costs you money as a government because you have less tax after a couple of, on average, during the years. But you don't have to spend the money up front. So this kind of, I'm sure a lot of things are done already in order to encourage this.
Okay. So until now, we can open to the floor. If you have any question, yes. 会长, would you like to? Okay. So, 就台湾，我们现在其实是赖总统非常重视减碳啊，当然就是蔡总统已经做了第一阶段的 energy transition， 就是Tsai administration actually engage more in the first parts of the energy transition, and nowadays the Lai administration actually concentrate more on the net zero transition. So that we just see that the government try to deploy the different strategy, but I think that at the beginning the speed will not be quick because we have several very tricky problems. Okay, so I think that the chairman suggests. First of all, I think mindset change is very important, and the enterprise has also to to cross a big step. But you see that recently the Formosa or Taisho actually meet very much the market crisis. Okay, not only from the net zero pressure, but by the by the global market. So Formosa have to change, have to transit by itself. Okay, so you can see Tiny, okay, Taiwan Cement Corporation has already make a big step. As I know that Tiny now Taiwan Cement Corporation, Tiny has 10 branch. Over half are not the transitional area they engaged. They invest more energy efficiency, energy storage, something like that. And they also invest some energy storage in Italian. So this just the last year, they got they got the good revenue back. Before that, they actually they spend a lot of the cost on that. But now they got the benefit back. So this is a progress that our Taiwan's enterprise must change. Okay. Until now, do you have any questions? 这边都年轻同学哈，大家可以多想一下哈，你们的未来。OK。
Hi， 我可能会需要翻译。我先试着讲讲看了，就是my question is based on what I understand. I don't understand deeply in this subject, but based on what I know is that I saw a lot of industry was trying to develop sustainability area. And government was trying a lot to increase the awareness, this kind of topic in the public. And also the academic area also trying to study this. But based on what I know is I didn't see much about a cooperation between these three very important area. Like how do the government or what do the industry need from the government, and what does the academic area can do to tribute into a collaboration between the three areas into bringing the, like what the chairman said, to increase the speed in this subject?
Well, I would say, as I said in my presentation, this ecosystem of industry, academia, press, government needs to work together in order to tackle this challenge of net zero, going to net zero. And of course, there's a lot of idealism involved with every party. And, you know, a lot of, let's say, quite generic measures are being discussed. But you also need to understand the motivations of each player in that ecosystem. And for the industry and the businesses, for us, it's something we want to do because it makes us more efficient. Because resource optimization is something we have to do by nature. So we are by nature looking into optimizing cost. Because in the end, resource optimization is a cost optimization, which makes us more competitive and survive and grow and deliver profit and become innovative. And this is a kind of cycle businesses would like to step into. So this is what needs to be understood by the other partners in the ecosystem as well. When you want to define measures in order to support the industry.
The government should have the very clear and the pathway of their policy or their goal, because the industry maybe they will wait. They don't want to transition because the government is not clear, and so I think the government should have the carbon reduction ambition, and not only the ambition, but we have the clear pathway how to transition to the net zero, and how to our energy policy, and how to encourage the industry to transition. And then second, the government should have the clear finance and the regulation for the industries. Yeah.
Yes, I also want very good. So clarity, consistency, reliability. I mean, you know, everybody says, "Oh, now Trump is coming." Anyway, it's changing. No, you know, it's not negotiable. This is science. This is science. These curves will not go away. You know, so consistency.
Okay, so I think this is a very important question. That's a very key question. Thank you for that cooperation or the collaboration or co-design, co-produced by the governmental sector, by the industrial sector, by the academic, and by the societies. So I want to give the further question to Chairman, because what we see is that because we ISPRC, Risk Society and Policy Research Center, we already conducted a TCFD survey for 3 years. We see that the first phenomenon is that the enterprise who actually depend on to the world market, they actually give a very strong response to TCFD or the CSR report. And secondly, they also depend on the governmental regulation. So earlier I actually criticized that our carbon pricing institution is too late. We have to speed up our carbon pricing. And now that we already announced that the government already announced the carbon fee institution. And the problem is next to the big company is okay. The big company can actually fulfill all the progress and in order to their regional or the global competition. But as I know, in Germany and in Taiwan, we have the amount of the small and medium enterprise. Okay, in our survey, the result shows that these kinds of small and medium enterprise not any pressure, yeah, from CBAN or from world market, yeah. So if I can imagine this, maybe it's whether it's that in Germany that the small and medium enterprise already into the innovative circumstance, so they can also get more the digitalization process. Even nowadays, they into the AI driven learning process. I think this is very important because in Taiwan we have so many, small medium manufacturer enterprise. They also belong to the supply chain. Okay, and how is the progress? How the situation in Germany?
So these small and medium-sized enterprises automatically will be exposed to growing pressure to become more sustainable because of several factors. Of course, we have industry alliances. You brought an example of companies who have the target to become net zero by 2030, 2035, 2050. Siemens, I can tell you, is internally, it's not just lip service. We have a sustainability department globally in Munich and very strictly implemented sustainability topics in all processes, especially in our compliance and procurement processes. So whenever you want to deal with us, with Siemens, there's we call it a business partner onboarding process, where there is really an independent check of how sustainable that vendor, that supplier is, and not only lip service, but proof points. So there's really like an audit. And so this is the voluntary side of it. But then there is governments who come now with mandatory topics. And you brought the example of the CBAM in Europe, the cross-border adjustment mechanism. This adjustment mechanism is mandatory, I think, for 1st of January 26 for the first couple of categories. And by 2034, if I recall correctly, it's mandatory for everything which is shipped into the European Union. Now imagine, and a lot of people think, 2034, no, it's around the corner. And they better get up and do their homework now, because it takes time to implement all requirements of that CBAM mechanism into your processes. 90%, we have an investigation in Siemens, no? Our supply chain, we have a big supply chain. So we buy this, we buy that, and then we produce something and we sell it. 90% of our CO2 emissions come from the supply chain. Yeah. So the CBAM, not only Siemens, but everybody else who's selling in Europe or exporting to Europe, will force the companies and their supply chain to become or to reduce greenhouse gas and to prove it. So there is a voluntary side to it, and there is an inevitable mandatory side which will not go away.
So I think it's a very good point that we have to consider how the Taiwan's small and middle enterprise to face the different pressure by the governmental strategy or by the global market strategy. Okay, so I think we have several times we go to the Trump's component, and I want to ask the Director General Chai how the government actually estimate the Trump second presidency, that he might actually cancel, withdraw from the Paris Agreement. Then how about the CCA? And actually the disturbed component might influence the progress of CBAN. And we know we will as a routinely follow our track, but government has already some more informal explanation about this disturb.
Yeah, we are very concerned about the political and the economic development globally. But I have to say, we have the Climate Change Response Act passed in 2023. It is the most incentive for the Yuan to pass these regulations is the EU CBAM, because the Taiwan, we are export oriented. So the most of the industries or the SMEs, I think they don't care the USCCA, but the EUC ban is really announced, and also they have the very clear regulations since 2022. So the industries and the companies in Taiwan, they think, well, EU is the true. They will use the carbon tariff to ask they have to reduce their carbon emissions. So I just want to say, in the climate related policies, I think EU is more than US for Taiwan. Yeah, because EU is the first to have their initiated to carbon neutral, but the USA, they are capital market. They do not have the clear climate policy. Only in the Biden administration, the 4 years, they have the IRA and the CCA initiate, but I think EU will still have their climate policy, and Taiwan, we also will have our net zero target to on this way.
How does Chairman to estimate Trump's second presidency component? I know that you just just said that you think that is maybe a small disturb or like that. How do you, in general, or how is the opinion of format in European enterprise leader?
As Director General Tsai just said, the European Union regulation will stay, so this will not go away. The EU is also an institution which works very slowly. So there will not be, in my point of view, it will be very hard to change that regulation. Even if you would put a lot of pressure on Europe from outside to change it within 4 years' time of a term of a US president, I think it will not be possible to change that. So, and it's a big market, Europe, 700 million people in the EU, wealthy, so a lot of buying power. And so this is influencing any exporting country, much more than any relaxation on the US side. I personally would feel sorry if the US would step out again of the Paris Accord, and if what was announced so far verbally would become reality. I would personally, on a personal side, feel disappointed about this, because it's not helpful when we want to fight climate change. That's a global thing we need to take globally, and not, let's say, let the others do it and we don't do it, and it will not help us.
So I think that it's a very important in efficient. Efficiently, I think that we have to actually to make the global effort to net zero transition. I think this is, as my slide showed, that this is a real climate emergency. Nowadays, but we face the different national, steps for carbon or for net zero transitions, either slow, either quick. Nowadays, this just January 20, we will face a disturber. Maybe it's an opportunity by Trump's second presidency. I think for Taiwan, because 2 days ago, that in the press conference, Donald Trump has announced that in his terms he will not build up any offshore wind power. I think it is the opportunity for Taiwan, because then we got more opportunity to cost down our offshore wind power. equipment or the construction. So maybe it's another opportunity. I think this is very flexible. We can make the different strategy. So is there any question? Yeah, well, okay, one or two, okay. Also, we ask three, we collect three questions and give back together, okay.
Thank you. I'm working in the Association of Chain and Franchise in Taiwan. And our government always talking about ESG transition, but mainly about the factory or the manufacturer. Seldom mention about the service industry. So even if we want to promote about the ESG transition in the maybe chain and franchise industry, most of the chain store in Taiwan are restaurant, but we don't have a clear guidelines or law to follow. So how do you suggest about this situation? Thank you.
Okay, so I think this question to Director General Chai. Okay, we have two questions again. Okay.
Hello, I have a question. And how do you think of a cultural difference? Because most people and the industry follow the policy or government. We don't have so much critical thinking. So do you have any opinions? Yes, thank you so much.
What does you mean that our government or our society don't have the very clear roadmap for net zero transition or carbon reduction? Do you mean that, or what's your question again? Please?
Can I say Chinese?
Okay.
就是我觉得东西方的差异是东方比较需要权威或者是团体 to group to follow去推动。So I agree, government is very important for Taiwan. 是用个人的力量，觉得会有一种跟不一样的恐惧，我们很需要那种团体去凝聚。对。
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, the next question. Okay, 最后一位。OK。
好，那我这边就简单那个口译一下。那so basically the question was that because of the cultural difference between the East and the West, especially for the region in the East, usually we are more prone to authoritative or more collective promotion efforts. We are inclined to such efforts and would like to follow this path. As for example, here in Taiwan, so when it comes to promotion, personally or individually, sometimes we will face some fear and in need of some collective support in this manner. So, is there any suggestions on that?
我用中文。首先很感谢3个主持人，让我今天学到很多。那其实我生活上会遇到的，像这种减碳的部分的话，是从就是电车变成就是电车比较多嘛，然后我们的生活食品就是会故意就是让它包装比较少，或者是像那个烟草业也会减少这些伤害。可是这些都是研究单位或者是中小企业自己去发行的，那政府顶多只是鼓励说我们做这些行为。那有没有具体点的，就是政府会就是会怎么推动这种像这种比较基层的这种减害，或者是企业永续发展？
So basically, because from the day-to-day life perspective, of course, we heard about usually carbon reduction like for example, the use of EVs and less food packaging and less tobacco, for example. And usually that's because of the suggestions or the perspectives from the academia or SMEs. And so it's unclear as to the government encouragement. So is there any specific recommendations for some basic level carbon reduction efforts for us to follow?
So several questions to Director General Tsai, and Chairman, you can help to answer. Maybe the Western and the Eastern, cultural, I may actually surprise something. Okay.
ESG, which is encourage the companies to do more about the environmental and the social and the governments to achieve the sustainable. So the ESG disclosure is the core and the most important things. And the Taiwan Stock Exchange, Taiwan 证交所, they have the ESG hub, which collect all the companies. They have their sustainable report and ES report on this ESG hub. And we also cooperate with the 金管会. Now they will have the ESG guidelines, especially the Scope 3 guideline, because the Scope 3 carbon reporting or measurable, which is the upstream and the downstream, and how to calculate this is very important for these companies. So the government we will have many regulations and guidelines for the companies to have do their ESG, but because this is voluntary, so how to disclosure and to public communicate is very important. Yes.
I think in the end, you can only motivate people to change their behavior by giving them a cost if they don't change the behavior. And the problem with that is this is very unpopular. So basically, you need to price emission of CO2 down to the individual. So you need to price use of electricity. You need to put the real price this does to the climate. You need to put it in the price. The question to you, Professor Cho, is how you do that without losing an election. Because I think this is one of the problems.
We expect that the government has to, construct some rules, some policies actually can make the enterprise or the individual to go into a new circumstance. I think Taiwan is actually like the very robust, innovative circumstance toward net zero transition. So although we sit here, we talk about net zero transition, but this not actually going to the normal people's life. But some companies, some enterprises got that pressure, particularly the manufactured enterprise. But for normal people, I think that how we actually, but this is step by step. The question is, or the challenge is that now the government actually conducts the carbon fee only to the manufacturer, not to the building, not to the transportation, not to the household. But according to the Climate Change Response Act, all the carbon emission source must be, levied carbon fee or carbon tax. So this is a step by step. 我用中文解释一下，就是说 我们现在碳费我想蔡处长在这边，我们现在只先到产业界因为太快变革，怕引起社会的抗争或政治上的纷扰所以但是在我们的无论是过去的温管法，或是现在气候变迁因应法，所有的温室气体排放源都必须要被征收相关的碳税费或是碳定价就对了无论碳交易或是那个碳税或碳费那我们现在只到产业界，尤其是在制造业。那未来我想那个彭部长上次年底也有宣示了就是说包括住商啊，包括建筑啊，有一些甚至医疗啊，都要开始登录温室气体排放。我想先这一步那未来要把它们纳入所谓征收对象，这可能还是要很多的工程因为这个是一部分。我们看韩国其实韩国跟日本是全面征收那我一直在讲说台湾的这个碳费从2006年的能源税谈到现在，终于慢慢要成型了可是也只先走了一小步所以说台湾整个transition的过程是比较慢的是比较慢的那 I remember just in 2010 actually at that time the director of the EPA also has actually also held the conference, and in the meeting, Professor Xu Ziyi asked two guests from Germany, how can Germany make so successful energy transition? I think the two guests from Germany said, this is very important, the social pressure, the social pressure. So I think this is a learning process, that Taiwan have to engage. So we try to actually engage more the collaboration between governmental sector, industrial sector, academia, and the society. So everyone have the responsibility actually to urge our society, our government, and our enterprise. If we want to meet the global competition, Taiwan has to transit itself, like Germany. Okay. So thank you. So I think that the time is up, and thank you all the audience to join this afternoon. So I think that General Tsai would like to get any connection. If you have any question, maybe the EPA has different accessibility. You can reflect your opinion to the governmental sector. And the ISPRC, we also have the website. If you have interest into the information to the energy transition of the net zero transition, please up our website. Okay. 台大风险中心. Okay, you can see some information. Okay, thank you very much. For today's forum. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Please give a round of applause for our special guest. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, please take a group picture. Thank you.
Wait a moment for the photographer to be ready. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. It's been my honor to be here, each and every one of you. The International Summit on Sustainable Development and Harm Reduction Framework has been a great success. Thank you all.非常谢谢大家的到临以及参与，今天谢谢你们。 我们的企业永续发展与减害框架国际高峰论坛在这边告一个段落，谢谢大家的参与以及到领，谢谢你们。